he used to invite me to come down to give the lecture and did a ceremony, a celebration, special celebration like Buddha birthday celebration and Uplavanas, and somehow that person introduced him to me lately. This second time we met online and we have a long conversation with Isaac too. Mm. One more time, could you share you like to work on the path of Mahayana? What's the difference between Mahayana and Theravada, and why you like to work on the path of Mahayana tradition?
Oh, that's right. So, while I have not maintained consistent formal instruction and my practice had been rather eclectic, one thing that almost never faded was my devotion to Tara. In Vietnamese, I believe she's called Dalai Botat. She's primarily revered in Tibetan Buddhism, but my devotion to her has strengthened my conviction immensely. And I know that what's most favorable to her is the path of bodhicitta. So just as she has helped me, I too, in addition to eliminating my own suffering, want to be like her and help save all the sentient beings. But of course, I have to be in a path in which my reverence for her is affirmed, even if she's not a central focus.
Then why not choose? Then why not choose a Vajrayana uh,
He doesn't know much.
tradition?
Well, ultimately, it was a matter of proximity. So he mentioned the chairman of our temple. So he and his wife have functioned as my spiritual parents for the past few years. And, when praying to Tara, I said, I'll go wherever you send me. And eventually we ended up connecting. And Reverend shared with me that it would make sense that we would end up together because Tara is ultimately an aspect of Avalokiteshvara, and it is often taught, for example, that people who are devoted to Guan Yin end up having rebirth in Sukhavati. They all point towards each other. So I have looked into Vajrayana temples, but they're, for example, the Lama retreats are either expensive or they're limited to natives of a certain region, such as in Nepal or in India. So basically, everything just ended up lining up this way.
You guess what? He is almost semi-as him, 24.
Oh, you're both babies.
And I told them that, hi, face everything and rise. Who's, oh, Ben, is that your Ben? Is that this
Yeah,
one?
I'm trying to get on my laptop, so I'm just switching to my laptop. Sorry.
Okay. Oh, okay. Face everything and rise. Yeah, you decide. That's good. That's okay. Yeah. How old are you now, Ben? You're on the Miss 40?
I'm 43 years old.
Oh, okay. How about you?
I'm 33.
Oh, 33. You're
Yeah.
young. You feel young.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so yeah. Uh, I just spoke with what his name? I actually forgot his name too. The one that introduced you to me. What his name?
Oh,
An Ong.
Onwind.
Anwin, okay. I called him this afternoon and I told him that if you have some problem with transportation, we can help you out to join us for our yearly retreat. Only 1 week here. Usually we have
Mhm.
that special 1 week. During the year we don't have much. Usually at the end of the year and beginning of the year. This year we have uh, Amitabha Buddha celebration on the 28th, and from 29th to January the 3rd we have chanting the Buddha names and meditation.
Oh, can I
Yeah.
say,
Huh?
can I say something?
What is that?
Can I say something to help?
Yes.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can hear me, right?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I just want to say, I
All
know
right.
we just met the other day, but yeah, if you want my number, if you ever want to just talk about Buddhism, because I know it's pretty rare for people around our age. to be really passionate about it. So yeah,
Oh,
if you
for
ever
sure.
want to talk about it,
Give him your number.
yeah, I'll give you my number because I know the last time it was kind of like advertisement for the temple to kind of talk about everything that you would be experiencing here. I didn't get to learn a lot about you, so I'd love to if you ever want to talk. So yeah,
Oh, definitely, yes. And Reverend has all of my contact info.
yeah, I'll take it. I'll
The
take
chat there, you see the chat there, kind of.
Yeah, I'll put my number in here too. So
How many years have you been vegetarian? How many have you been as vegetarian? 2 years, 3 years?
Vegetarian?
Mm-hmm.
Probably 1 month.
1 month?
Yeah, because when I decided, so on the Lunar Festival here in Buddha Temple, I was having my commitment to not eat any more animals. So I tried vegetarian 1 month, and I noticed that the only thing that it was stopping me from being vegan, it was the dressings of the salads. So that was it. So I said, well, I can just not do dressing that they have milk and egg, and I'll medically be vegan. So my transaction was smooth, and I'm gonna be 3 years vegan the next lunar festival that we have in February.
So basically, this is one year, right?
Yeah, actually, what day is gonna be? 2026.
What's that?
When what day is gonna be 2026 lunar festival?
Yeah, Lunar Festival, Lunar New Year's Festival. Check it out. Yeah, 22nd.
22nd.
22nd. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, yeah. So, Alan, if you have some, if you need our help for transportation, we can buy a ticket for you, either airplane ticket or the Greyhound bus ticket. We can help you out if you have time. But otherwise, it's
So,
up to you. Okay, because it's
no,
important. This
I
week,
really appreciate that.
the last week of the year, and that's so important for us to come together to do meditation, to do the chanting. You love chanting Amitabha Buddha names too, right, Alan?
Yes,
Okay, good then.
definitely.
So let me know. Okay, let me know. Okay, we can help you out. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's move
Thank you.
on. Yeah. Let's move on then. Let's move on to our discussion today. Okay. Let's see here. How you? So you came here. You came here on Wednesday to help out for the children, right?
Yes, for the children,
So,
for the kids. I'm just gonna try to help the kids for the mass.
yeah, please. Yeah, please. So, you got back from work early, right?
No, I usually get off at 4 o'clock.
Before 4 o'clock,
No, after 4 o'clock.
after 4. So our program start around 5:30.
Yeah, 5:30.
So
it's
you
right
you
time.
came straight from
Yeah,
work
from
to here.
work to here.
Oh,
and
good.
Then after this, then I'll go back
Oh,
home.
good. Thank you. Yeah. So yeah, the children love love you. They
They like mass.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go back to our discussion now. Last time we talked about why speech, right? And we talked about why life. Here, I don't know whether you can read it or not. Uh, can you read, Ben?
You want me to read that for you?
Yeah, right here.
Truth is a debit card. Truth is a debit card. Pay first and enjoy later. Lie is a credit card. Enjoy first and pay later.
It makes
That's a
sense.
good one.
And that makes sense.
I'm gonna remember that at work. I'm going to remember at work.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, this is just a lot now. Let us talk about this one here. Side like we can talk about this one here. Let's see. MEN enlarge it. Too small. Can you see that? I'm sorry. I need to go open. Okay, right here. I can enlarge this here. Copy this. So is it big now? So Isaac, during this time, it's easy to tell lie or easy to keep the truth.
This time,
I mean that here during this modern age, it's easy for us to tell lie or it's easy for us to tell the truth.
I think it's, well, no matter what age, it's always easier to lie.
Easy to lie.
Yes.
Why is that?
Because sometimes,
Oh, I'm sorry.
sometimes the truth can be hard to swallow. That's the saying. You say. I think for virtuous people, then it's difficult to lie because once you try to observe that precept, you're aware, you're mindful of your speech and how it can affect others. So it becomes difficult at that point. But unless you want to walk in a virtuous way and have that kind of conduct, I think it's easier to lie for most people. I think. I don't know. Maybe it's a pessimistic view.
Yeah, so in the case I told you guys last week that remember the man when he heard the news that he got the terminal illness, cancer, from his own children, so his health went down.
That's anytime you get a most people get a diagnosis, their symptoms get worse by 60%. I can't remember what the exact percentage is, but just the fact a doctor giving you a diagnosis will amplify your symptoms by something like 60%, or even like all of a sudden like a massive increase in like mass size or something like that. As soon as they name it in you, yeah, it's so be really careful about what you let people diagnose, because you don't have to believe them.
Yeah. So if that's the case, let's say whoever you love so much, would you disclose to them, or would you just say no? You don't have problem. What do you say then? What should you do then? So that okay, so you have a choice, right? Either tell the truth or keep hiding from them. If you keep hiding from them, at least they don't know what's going on. They may enjoy and move on to their life. But if you tell them the truth, so the two way may affect, either they accept it or they depress. So most of the time, the high probability that they may have the depression. So if that were your loved one, how could you do that?
Our decisions and our speech will depend of what we look in the outcome. So for instance, if I'm looking to not hurt the feelings of somebody, but I have to say the truth, then I will attempt to don't give too much details, because that's what we discussed last week. And that's what I tend to do to don't hurt feelings, because for me it's really hard to lie, because it's just the way I am. And sometimes, yeah, the truth hurts, but in order to avoid suffering in others, I just avoid to give too much details.
Ben, what do you think, Ben? You understand the question, Ben?
You were kind of muffled. Can you repeat the question?
The question is that, let's say whoever you love so much, right? They may not know that they have terminal illness. It may take only few months to live.
Yeah.
So you have your choices. You either tell them the truth so that they can accept. If you tell them the truth, the two way may affect to them directly. They may accept that, or they feel depressed because they have only a few months to live. If you tell lie, you say no, it's okay. You hide from them. Of course, they still enjoy their life and move on to their life, and of course, the next few months or 1 year from now they may find out and they may die. So what's your choice?
Yeah, that's like with a loved one, that's a different scenario.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I would honestly like what Kirsten is saying. If you tell somebody, oh, you're dying from cancer, you know, and you're blunt, honest with them, that can cause the psychosomatic reactions
Mm-hmm.
to worsen the situation. So you know, it's like when my dad was sick and he had kidney cancer. It's always like in the positive. Dad, you're gonna be okay. We're gonna make it through this. You know, like you're gonna be fine. You're gonna come out alive. We're gonna get back to our normal life. So in that situation, yes, it is a lie, but that is a love. That's like having compassion. You know,
Okay.
instead of saying,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, this tumor's growing and you're gonna die." You
Okay.
know, that's a whole different
Okay.
situation.
Okay. How about you, Alan? You understand the question, Alan?
Yes, Reverend. So I would do, what I would want someone to do for me. If I potentially only had a few months to live, I would want to know so that I could manage my affairs. There would be things that I would want to take care of, and if that information was withheld from me, I would feel robbed of the chance to make the most of my last days. So, assuming that we hadn't already had this conversation before with a relative, whether or not they'd like to know, again, I just feel that out of respect for them and to give them the chance, to decide what they want to do with the rest of their life, that I would tell them.
Mm-hmm. You know what? Last weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I did. Uh, yeah, Friday before I left. Remember I told you I flew to Washington D.C. before that, right? I did the prayer for the old man. You see the family that came today. We from morning to this afternoon we did the funeral service for him. He's 95, and when they flew to Washington D.C., I did the funeral service for old lady. She's 85, 90, 90. Yeah, only a few days I did that. So anyway, go back. What do you think? The question, the question about loved one. If you tell the truth, they may either accept that or feel depressed. But if you hide from them, they can move on to their life for a while. What's your choice?
Well, first of all, the big news is any one of us could die in the next 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have some sort of affairs you need to get taken care of, I suggest you do that right now.
But some people they cannot accept that.
But
They want
so,
to live forever.
but then the other thing is like, even if a doctor says, "Oh, you only have 3 months, 6 months," well, guess what? They don't have. They don't have a crystal ball. They don't actually know. That's why it's called a doctor's practice. It's not doctors knowing. They don't know that. So it's not even that it's lying or not lying. Guess what? It's fatal for all of us. So in that situation, it's not like that's not even new information that you're gonna die. We come into this world to die. So letting someone know they're gonna die, it's like, well,
But
it's.
but some people it's pure hard to hear.
I mean, I don't. But like, why? I don't know. First of all, I wouldn't unless somebody really. I mean, I don't know why you would have to tell. First of all, I don't know why you would be in the position where you would hear that information and they wouldn't, right? Because if they went to a doctor, the doctors tell tell the patient. But then, second of all, if for like some strange turn of events, you had this patient's private information that they didn't, it's still not it's not new information that you're gonna die. So that's it. That doesn't even, in my book, that doesn't even fall under the scope of lying or responsibility, because now if the person is sitting there suffering and like, acting like they, actively involved in a disease and they don't understand what's going on, of course, then you want to gently guide them to the fact that their body is going through a process. But yeah, it's I don't.
I think it also depend on the one because everybody we love the one. It's not some people that we don't know. We have to tell the truth or lie. But for the people that we love, I think it depends on the patient. They can handle for the situation they not can handle. For like family members, if you know them well, so they can handle. If they can handle, you can tell the truth. It's no problem. But if you can't, I'd rather lie. I know that's kind of
In
like
general,
in a
we talk
general.
about in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially for the young people, can accept that because they have a lot to do in the future ahead of them. They can accept that.
They can accept that.
No way. No way they can accept that, right? Miss 30, even 40, right? Right. So, Isaac, let's say somehow if someone says, "Oh, you have only have a couple months to go. Are you ready?"
That's what I'll say. That's yeah. At that point, and I think that's why it's good to. Milarepa. We were talking about Milarepa the other night. He said now was the time to prepare for death and wait.
Die before you die.
Yeah. Oh yeah, too.
Before you die.
And
Die before you die.
remember Alan? I was telling you about person Kirsten who helped me learn the mantra. That's Kirsten. That's her. Yeah. Yeah, the should I be? She's a vet. She's been here longer than me. But yeah, so yeah, too, and yeah, we were talking about Padmasambhava too. I think he said if you want to know if you understand impermanence, check if your plans are immediate or in the future. How long your plans are. That's to see if you really understood the law of impermanence. So yeah, people they have so many plans, but who knows? Like Kirsten said, 5 minutes isn't even guaranteed. So.
And I really do. I mean, if for people that have spiritual awareness, do a deathbed meditation, do a deathbed exercise. There is no reason.
Remember, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Especially in our tradition, right? Christian tradition or Catholicism, they would not like to talk about that. In society in general, right? People would not like to talk about that. Probably in Buddhist tradition, we will talk more. But our tradition, they just mention about how beautiful life is, how successful we are, and so forth. When we talk about that, are more silent. That's why it's pure hard for many people.
That's really almost all of our fears, which are mostly fake.
Yeah.
Fear isn't real. Stems from the fear of death. So
Yeah.
one great way to penetrate many levels of fear is do a deathbed meditation guided by someone that's knowing, like go through or study, because there are some very formalized ways
Yes.
to do that, so you're not just sitting there like thinking, oh, what's it like to die? No, not that. But a process that can guide you through that. And so then when you start to see that and be comfortable with it, and not like you're welcoming death, but like that, because there's no way you're getting out of that when that moment that you come to meet it, that you're but if you start cultivating that ability to like meet that moment now, not only will, when it comes to that moment, you'll have some like, okay, I know what to do here, but it also on other layers of fear, which can present as like social rejection, all sorts of things. But when you start penetrating that ultimate fear, those other ones.
You know what Mike Tyson said? Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. How about you, Ben? If someone say only you have only have couple weeks, a couple months to go, are you ready, or there's no way for you to accept that?
Yeah, I'd just be like, peace out, bro.
Why is
No,
that?
yeah, that's a tough one because I've had some really really challenging experiences,
Mm-hmm.
sicknesses, head injuries, and things like that. And
Mm-hmm.
so, like the medical community, I want to know the truth. I want to know what's going on
Mm-hmm.
so I can deal with it objectively. But like from my family members, I want to be coddled. To be honest, I want them to
Mm-hmm.
say, it's going to be okay and love me. And you reminded me because like last week I was at a church event and I don't do well with a lot of people and a lot of noises because of my brain injury. And so I started having a panic attack. And so I left the building and I ran into a lady I know and she's like, where are you going? And I was like, oh, I'm going to another church event. And she's like, well, we're having one right here. And I had to look like I felt that afterwards because I had to lie to her, but I wasn't in a cognitive mindset to go into all of her questioning. So that's one thing that I thought of. So that's it.
Sorry, I have my computer almost. How about you? If someone tell you, okay, you have one couple of weeks, a couple of months to go, how is that? Are you ready? Or is just
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, because Buddhism teaches impermanence. I do believe in that Isaiah is spot on when it comes to talking about impermanence. It reminds me of my favorite movie, and one of the main characters is called Gandalf by Lord of the Rings, and he says, death is another path. It doesn't end there. My body will decompose, but I'll be ready to review the good karma that I have received this life, and maybe perhaps will be rebirth outcome to see if I will reincarnate in a better life based on my actions that I have provided. So I'm not afraid of death. It's just another cycle that we'll go through.
There's a funny meme on Facebook, like when Buddhist videos, and it's like shows a video game, and it's like so for when you're for Buddhists, and then like the top of the screen it shows game over, and then it shows the thing, and then it says start again.
That's a cycle, right? It's cycle. Of course, only most of the time, only not only Buddhist, but somehow yes. If you understand Buddhist tradition principle well, yeah, it's not easy, but it's acceptable. But for the general public, there's no way. I doubt it. There's no way, especially for the young people, right? They they have everything ahead of them. They have the friendship, relationship, they have wealth, and so forth. Right, Alan? So it's not easy to accept, right, Alan? If in your case, if someone told you you have only a couple of weeks to go, a couple of months to go, how is that?
Sure. So of course I can only speculate, but I do have at least one frame of reference. There was a time, and for reference, I was more leaning Theravada,
Mm-hmm.
but I was having symptoms that were actually reminiscent of an oncoming heart attack.
Mm-hmm.
And, it turned out to just be a mental fabrication. But I had actually heard a Dharma talk by Bhikkhu Thanissaro,
Mm-hmm.
the Anattapantika Sutta, where Sariputra gives a dying man advice. So I just tried following the meditation, which is basically focusing on non-attachment. And surprisingly, at that time, I was actually at peace. But if now I was given a projection of a couple of months, like Ms. Kirsten said, while there is the technical possibility of passing at any moment, I would draw a distinction between that and a projected approximate time of death, because, for example, I'm set to graduate in about 6 months, right? Well, if I know that if I suspect I'm going to pass in 2, then I'm not going to continue my courses, and I'd probably just fly up there now and spend most of my time in the temple. So really, I think how I would summarize this is just by saying that there would be a shift in immediate priorities is what would occur.
And since your Renpo is a Christian pastor, right? Right?
Yes, yes.
So have you ever discussed with him this topic before?
Well, it's in a few ways, right? I mean, I don't think that theologically, I don't think that he could consider, anyone in his family falling out of God's favor. Like I've spoken to you before, despite us having different faiths, I feel like I've seen him become, I hate to say it, but more flexible as needed. I don't think the idea of his grandchild being damned is something that he could accept. So, but no, the times where we have talked about it, once I end up getting into it and we're debating, he'll eventually retreat, more or less.
So if that was your Renpo case, would you tell him the truth? Or would you say in one way so that he can move on?
If I were going to pass soon?
No, I mean that your Renpo.
Oh, if he was going to. Oh, knowing him, he would want to know, and he would be just fine. He has endured things that so many of us probably couldn't imagine. But he is so secure in his faith and contextualizes everything around it that even when so I misunderstood your question at first, but no, we have talked about something similar to that, and he's at peace. I've said even to a monk at a different temple, if he were Buddhist, I'd have no doubt he'd be a stream enterer at this point, just how firm he is and how everything revolves around that. So yes, I would tell him, and he would be fine. He even says, sometimes at random, I could pass today and, there's nothing more that I want than to be with my late wife,
Okay, yeah, thank you. So in general, depend upon the situation, right? But for the general public, it's not easy for them to accept the truth, right? Anyway, let's just move on to the next topic. Let's see here. I want to share with you here. You see that okay. Can you see that now? Can you read this? Right? For major types of life, wildlife we know, right? To avoid hurting someone's feeling, that's what we're talking about here, right? Great lives to help others as well as to protect oneself from a threat. Ever possible? What do you think, Isaac? Great life.
Well, the Buddha said don't lie.
Yeah. Out compassion, you have to tell lies so that you can save life then.
What about the Buddha do then? What did the Buddha do?
Buddhist he figured out a way to skillfully speak his mind.
So we have.
Thank you. Yes.
So he didn't lie. So we have to try not to lie then. If the Buddha didn't lie, of course we're not the Buddha, but we can try our best. So I'll just follow how the Buddha handled them and try my best. Probably fall short, but still.
Most of the time he keeps silent instead of saying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So one. So a deer jumped into the garden where the Buddha was sitting among the monks. So the Buddha told monks to chase away the deer. So later on, moment later on, a hunter came and asked Buddha, "Did you see a deer?" The Buddha just keep silent. So when you are in that situation, if you go against your conscience, it's better to keep silent instead of saying that. Yeah. So what do you think about great life? Think so?
Let me see. To help others as well as to protect oneself from a threat.
Right.
Yes, definitely. But we are skillful when telling things to avoid harm. So that's the discussion that we spoke last week. It's careful. So if a situation that requires a lie to move on, I will say the less amount of information, like just the necessary. My mom would tell me, I don't know if it's true in Buddhism or not, but we'll see about you guys. She said that selling half of something, it is not lying. So, for example,
A half truth.
yeah, saying half true, it is not lying.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, all right. So, how about you, Ben?
I'm just leaving it to you guys.
What do you think about you, Ben? What do you think?
Yes, this chart here, it reminds me of the movie Flight by with Denzel Washington, and it was about the pilot that crashed the plane into the river in New York, and he was under the influence of drugs and alcohol. And so, like, the last scene is they're in the courtroom, and the lawyer says, all you have to do is say, I wasn't under the influence of drugs and alcohol, and you won't have to go to prison. But at the end, he has such a conviction. He knows that if he lies, that he'll go on continuing the same patterns of behavior. So he just in the courtroom, he just says, "Yes, I was under the influence," and so they sent him to prison because he knew he wanted to change his life, and he knew that by going to prison was the only way. That's one example, and then if you're protecting somebody, yeah, there's times that people were trying to hurt my friends or my family, and I had to tell a lie that they weren't at home or they were gone. If it's to protect somebody, I can understand that. But when it comes to like in business or something very, very important, the best course of action is to tell the truth. That is what I try to do. Because every time I lie, I'm not a good liar. It ends up coming back on me. So that's all I got.
Yeah, for the children, right? For the little one. Yeah, if we say, okay, you need to stay here, don't go out. Of course, they want to go out to play. But if we say, okay, don't go out, ghosts out there, they may capture you. But of course, they understand about the ghost. Then, hey, if you go out, people may kidnap you. They may not understand what's kidnapping, but they may concern about the ghost, right? The darkness figure and so forth. It's just the light there to protect them. Right? Yeah. So how about you, Alan? Could you encounter this kind of situation before?
Yes, sir. Like Ben just said, there have definitely been times where I've lied to help others. On that note, I did want to. Okay, it does relate principally, but it has to do with a different precept. I'm not sure if it's canonical, but I've heard of a story of when Buddha was a bodhisattva, him having a premonition of somebody trying to murder people on a ship, and he took it upon himself to kill that person before he could. And he ended up going to hell in his next life, but that was the idea there was portrayed as you should be willing to be so compassionate that you would violate a precept if it means saving others. Is that in line with your view?
So are you ready? What do you think? To live so that you can save whoever there? What do you think? Is that great light here? What do you think?
I mean, If I have a classroom full of kids and there's an armed man standing there and he says, "Are there children in there I can shoot?" Of course, I'm going to say no. I'm gonna lie. I'm gonna lie. Yeah, of course that would be something I would lie about. but I did, I did try that radical honesty practice for a while. And like I mentioned, when you really start putting attention on what is truth, what is half truth, what is manipulating other people's opinions, yeah, it brings some really great awareness to your motivations and your speech. So I would say would needs to be a pretty extreme case for me to lie. There's probably times I would keep silent, if absolutely necessary, but I really try to stand in my own truth and my honesty, and not cave to fear.
Let's say like the nun, they don't understand much about. They just came from Vietnam. They don't understand much about the society, American society. Let's say while you driving, right? While you driving them to the rough area, and they say, "What happened? Can we stop here to have a drink and so forth?" But we're concerned about their life, right? You would not stop by whether McDonald's or so forth because it's a rough area. You say, no, it's okay, we can move on.
I don't think you know like how rough areas I go at night in the rain getting
But
trapped
they
by
ask
trees.
you to stop by, but they because they don't know. So would you tell them? Would you lie to them? No, okay, we can move on. What do you think?
I would. I don't know. I try not to impart fear narratives on anyone. I could say, this is a higher risk.
But they don't. They may not
Please.
understand what means high risk. They may not understand.
I don't think people understand the level of fear I have stared down in life, and I don't bend. So
I think just lie, for the for the situation, and pass those the danger area zone, and after that we can tell them explain that what's happening. Later,
I think
tell the truth.
though when you go in when you go into a dangerous area, whether you know the place, don't know the place, your people's body alarm goes off. Like you know when you've walked into, I mean, you don't have to have cultural context to pick up, your survival, your lizard brain.
But still,
Let you know.
this is in my case when I first came to the state. West Philly, this top area, West Philadelphia. At that time, I didn't know much, and I got bitten.
You got what?
I got bitten.
What happened?
You got jumped.
Yeah, one day I took they call subway from my campus when at that time I was in college. So I took the train from the city. What they call it's total street that's just around University of Pennsylvania, Drexel University and so forth. Because I came back from the school and to study after school with my friends. So at that time it's about I think 8 or 9. It's pretty dark, and we took a train. So at that time I lived in West Philly. I remember Chetnut there. So my train stopped by at that station, and they walked down, and they robbed me, and they beat me up. I didn't know that it's so dark, and I don't know. Probably 3 or 4 of them came up to me, and you know what happened? before that, my brother asked me if I have some money to give him so that he can pay tuition, and I gave him all.
Well,
If I
that's
kept
good.
that, I will be gone.
I got jumped.
Really?
So I did actually. I was with my boyfriend, who was like 6'4", but he and I had been fighting. So we were downtown, the like 4th Street area. But this was
Here, Louisville.
this yeah. So this was in the 90s. So it wasn't like quite what it is now. Kind of dark.
It worse or better?
Worse, yeah. No, it wasn't quite as populated,
In the
and
west
well
side?
lit and stuff. Downtown.
Or downtown?
Downtown. And he and I had been fighting, and so he had walked quite a number of feet ahead. And I had noticed this like black guy following me, but I didn't want to like there was a part of me that really wanted to fight any like racist narratives that I had. I was like, well, just because there's a black person behind you doesn't mean anything's gonna happen, right? Well, then sure enough, he like football tackled me, and he and I like we were fighting. I was swinging. Anyways, I had my purse. At the time, I was a search and rescue worker, so I did have like a government issued first responder beeper, which ended up making this like a federal crime. But but I had all my money, my social security. I had everything in there, and I chased him down. I chased him. So he got it, and he ran into a dark parking garage. I was so mad though, and I was screaming at the top of my lungs, and I was like, I was booking it. I was not going to let him go, screaming. And then the parking garage attendant heard me screaming. And I was like, so then the parking garage attendant started chasing him. And then a group of people started chasing him. Anyways, so the police heard me screaming. I told the police what had happened. And the parking garage attendant football tackled him in the middle of Muhammad Ali. Mm-hmm. And he was like, I got it back. So the guy got caught. Whoa. So yeah, the guy got caught. Persistent felony offender. He was on crack, all kinds of trouble. Yeah. And so anyways, that was the end of his days on the street.
It's not easy. Yeah, so I told you. Yeah, I told you that. At that time, didn't know that. Yeah, I just feel dark at that time.
You tell Alan this isn't the typical nature.
What is that?
By the way, Alan, just to let you know, this isn't the typical nature of our Buddhist discussions. By the way, this is
It's all fine.
Yeah. So Ben, if when you deliver some package for people and they may not know much about those type of food, whichever items, would you tell them, or would you I mean that you don't care about that?
Yeah, I talked about this with the military guy the other day that I met. Sometimes I'm just so busy picking up orders, and I'm just like trying to hustle and make money, and so I'm not paying attention to the food. So I might forget a drink, or the condiment or something isn't right, So for me, I try my best to get accurate order, and make sure that everything is what they ordered, and it's part of honesty. So I try not to skip over it. That's just something that I do. But sometimes I don't have the time to like look at all the details of the food order. So that's it's one thing I've had to work on through the years, and I'm doing pretty good now. My accuracy is really good for my food deliveries. But yeah, and then somebody will ask me, did they put the extra sauce in there or whatnot? I try to like pay attention to things like that. Am I always accurate? No.
But if you know that they gave you the spoiled food or whichever food that may not the one that they order, would you tell them, or you would not care much about that? Is that between the customers and the company? Is that not your business? Would you tell the customer?
Yeah, yeah, like when I was brand new, I like picked up the wrong bag of food and dropped it off at their house. And they're like, "Oh, I hate these burritos. It's the wrong order." I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry." And I didn't know what I was doing. But now, and especially with the technology, now it's like it's hard to mess up that bad.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like accountability levels.
Okay. Alan, so when we talk about spirituality, we don't talk much about the religion, right? We talk about spirituality, right? When you see some young people, they go to you can recognize that they go the wrong way. Would you tell them upfront, or would you not care much about them?
Would I tell them if their practice was wrong or
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Be
erroneous?
harmful for them, be
Yeah,
harmful for
it would.
others. What do you think?
Yeah, it would depend on my relationship with them,
Mm-hmm.
and whether or not they're seeking my counsel. Like
Mm-hmm.
somebody who's interested in Buddhism, for example, and is using me as a reference, then absolutely. But aside from that, just somebody engaging in their own practice and sharing it with me, I just grant them the same grace I would want them to give me. But any misconceptions, absolutely, I'd clarify, but otherwise, no.
Yes, how about you, Ethan? Let's say if some of your best friend, right, after hunting the deer, they have the deer meat, they want to share with you. Of course, you don't want to eat that. Would you tell them upfront about that, or no? Say, oh no, it's okay. I don't want. I'm full already. What do you think then?
I will ask why this person likes to eat animals.
But they may not understand because it's normal for them to kill deer for meat.
They may not understand because we don't explain them. We need to explain them why the things, why they should strive for a plant-based diet, what are the outcomes, and the results will bring from avoiding eating the animals. And there is many reasons, including but not limited, health, suffering in the world. So
Of course, this is our Buddhist view, but for them, many of them out there, hunting is the game. They like to hunt, like they do the gambling. They playing around with the game. When they see the animal running, they just want to shoot it down. So they may not care, but they bring the meat to you, and and of course you don't want to eat that type of meat, right? So would you tell them clearly or no? I don't want to consume this type of meat because it comes from animal suffering, or you just step away, or just say no, I'm good. What do you think?
yep, I would say I'm good. Thank
You
you.
don't need to spend more if they don't understand.
They understand? No, they want to stand, but I just say no. I just don't.
Okay.
And I might explain the reasons why.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't understand because we don't bring to attention.
Mm-hmm.
People don't know. It is not only with meat. It could be with littering. People throwing trash in the street, and because they were raised that well. But because if we bring to attention, we explain why, they may understand.
And let's say this is in many story in Buddhist tradition. Let's say when you walk into the forest or the park, you see a deer with trap, right? And you release them. And when the hunter came, they say, "Oh, would you tell them, okay, I just release the deer," or you say, "No, I don't know." What do you think?
I said with total confidence that I did release him.
But still, they may get mad to you. They
I
may
cannot
beat you
control
up.
that.
They may beat you up and so forth, right?
If they're trying to harm me, I would practice self-defense because there were monks also that practiced martial arts for defending themselves.
Yeah, I don't know whether you know this story, right? So there was a monk. He came to a house. Of course, he begged for food. At that time, somehow there was a chicken. So the chicken saw a the ruby, the red ruby, right? Somehow the owner somehow dropped the red ruby on the floor, so the chicken thought that's the meat or the worms, so it swallowed. So that time the owner, after he offered the food to the monk, somehow he could not find his rubies, and he blamed on the monk. Oh wow, I just gave the food to you, but somehow you stole my ruby. How you been, Sam?
I'm okay.
Oh, good. So what happened? You guys understand? You know this story before? No. So what happened then? So the monk keeps silent, and somehow the owner used to hit the monk until he's bleeding, and but somehow at that time, the owner somehow when he was hitting the monk, somehow the chicken is around, and somehow he hit the chicken to the head, coincidentally and accidentally. So at that moment the chicken died, and at that time after that the monk say, well, I did not steal your ruby, but the chicken swallowed your. And somehow the owner, he didn't believe that, and the monk say, well, if you don't believe it, cut up the throat of the chicken, and you can see that yet the owner did. And after the chicken would die, so of course he slit up the head of the throat of the chicken, and he found a ruby there. Were you ready to do that way, Isaac? You follow your story? Would you let people beat you up until the chicken die so that you can tell, or you tell them clearly? Because if the owner know that the chicken swallow the ruby, of course they would kill the chicken. But for the monk, because of his compassion, he'd rather to endure the beating than tell the owner that, oh, the chicken just swallowed the ruby.
But he told him and he just didn't believe him, right?
Huh?
He told him and he just didn't believe him, right?
No, he didn't.
He may kill the chicken to get back the rupee. Rupee is expensive.
Oh, I see. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
You understand that?
Yes.
Would you rather beaten up, or would you tell the owner, hey, that's your chicken, just cut up the head, you can find the rupee.
No, I think it's better. The monk did the right thing.
That's the real story. Sam, you know the story before, Sam?
No, I don't think I've heard it before.
So it's new, right? New, right? So Alan, is that new for you?
Yes, this is.
And not easy, not easy to handle. Where some in some situation you may sacrifice yourself so that you save others by telling lie or whichever way, right? Okay, so Sam, we talk about ray line. Can you read this, Sam? Number 2, ray line. Sam, please.
Since it's on my phone, it's too small for me to read.
Oh, you cannot read? Too small? Okay, basically, ray liners mean you help others as well as protect yourself from the threat. Right? Like I just mentioned that, let's say some little children, they may not understand why we don't allow them to go out of the building to play. We may say, hey, if you go out, the ghost will catch you. But actually, of course, we're concerned that someone may kidnap them. So would you tell that? Would you tell them if you step out of the building, ghosts may capture you? Would you say that?
I did say something like that, except instead of ghosts, the other day Olivia kept trying to go outside when it was dark, and I told her, there's snakes outside.
Yeah. Alan, Sam, he is the main one in our after school program, and Isaac and Miss Lucy, they have been out too. We have around 20 students, right, per day from Monday to Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's why I used to tell Sam that we need to, Isaac, yeah, when the children come, make sure to lock the door, because don't let any stranger to come to the building. It's pretty dangerous for them. We want to protect their life, right? Anyway, go back here. So, Alan, in your case, any situation that you have to deal before with this kind of red light, Alan?
Yes. What comes to mind most prominently would be like if I'm with female friends in like the city or just out in general, or like so if a man is like harassing or approaching them, then I'll often, even if I'm not, claim to be their boyfriend so that he'll leave them alone.
Okay.
That type of thing.
Good. I'm sorry, time up. I forgot the time. All right, we can stop here. So next time we will talk about what we call they call black light.